If you're a parent like me, then I have no doubt you want your child to grow up with a strong sense of self, believing I am enough. You want your child to be able to take in the statement of, you are perfect just the way you are. And if you never ever change, you are enough for me. However, as a psychotherapist working with adolescents and adults, I find again and again that a big core belief that people seem to carry with them in their everyday lives is this feeling of being inadequate, of not being enough, is this feeling of there must be something wrong with me. What can we as parents do to try to instill within our kids the hope that comes from believing in our adequacy, believing in our okayness, believing in our enoughness? How do we support our kids in coming through their childhood with as much of that belief in themselves intact as possible? Let me tell you, there's two sides to supporting this. There's the side of what do we do when things are going well, and there's the side of what do we do when there's a struggle. So when things are going well with our kids, what I think is really, really important is that we are proactive in sharing with them that they are the light in our eyes, that we are so glad to see them, that we are so glad they're here, that they are such a treasure of joy to us. Kids learn about themselves in large part through our eyes as their parents. And I think it's really important that we don't miss the opportunities to let them know how proud we are, how excited we are to see them, how happy we are they're in our lives. So as much as you can, whenever you feel you're able to, positively reinforce with your child how wonderful they are and how grateful you are that they are part of your life, so that they can see how your eyes light up when you see them, and they can begin to internalize that light inside themselves and feel the brightness of who they are. Now, the other side of this is, what do we do when there are struggles with our kids, when things get hard, and how do we navigate those times with our kids? That has a big impact on how our kids come to feel about themselves. Let me explain. Kids do not do a particularly good job emotionally regulating, so that when a child gets angry, for example, their anger tends to burst out of them. They act out of that anger. They might act out behaviorally, kicking their brother. They might act out verbally, pulling out the big guns and saying, I hate you. I hate you, Mom. I hate you, Dad. Whatever it might be. Now, what's really important in those moments is this. Oftentimes when a child acts out, what happens is the child dysregulates, and then the parent is caught off guard by the child's acting out behavior, and the parent dysregulates as well. Now, the one thing I want you to hear is that if you have two dysregulated people, you can't have a conversation. You can only have a fight. So what's really important is that if your kids come at you from a place of being out of sorts and acting that out in some way, pause, catch your breath, ground yourself, and then respond to your child instead of reacting. So that if your child comes at you with, I hate you, you can say, I'm really sorry to hear that. Sounds like you're really upset right now. What's going on? And the child might say, I don't want to tell you. And you can say, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm right here. I want to listen. I want to understand. I care about you. And the child says, no, you don't. And you say, I'm sorry you feel that way. Listen, I'm here. I want to talk whenever you're ready. And what we're now doing, if we can respond to our child instead of react to our child, what happens is our child dysregulates. And instead of us rising up to join them in their dysregulation, we maintain a calm, regulated position. And what does that do? Our child calms down and joins us. So rather than rising up into our child's anger, we maintain a solid ground that our child can settle into. Now, when we do that, we go a long way in supporting our kids' sense of esteem. Because where our kids' esteem tends to get damaged most of all is in the fights that we have with them, or in our anger and in our sharp tones. We say things and kids hear things that they internalize as they're not enough. So if you can regulate and respond, then you remove all those times your kids taking your anger as a statement of their inadequacy. Like, if you can do those things, positively reinforcing the good times, regulate and ground yourself so that you can respond instead of react in the hard times, you'll go a long way to supporting your child and developing a growing sense of self-esteem. Because at the end of the day, your child will see themselves in large part through the way in which you see them. So go enjoy your kids, knowing that your enjoyment of them will help them realize what a joy they are.